So I did all the filming outside, and I realized this first part I want to talk to you guys about, there was no sound. I had my microphone connected. Apparently it wasn't turned on. I thought it was turned on. Apparently it wasn't. And everything else is fine. So the rest of the video after this is going to all be outside. Hopefully the sound is good. You guys like that. So I'm just going to do this inside here. But it's kind of perfect because I'm talking about my bed. The number one thing you want to think about when planning your van build is your bed. You spend 8 hours a night, ideally 8 hours a night, in your bed. 1/3 of your life is spent in bed, sleeping. And sleep is so very important. Doesn't matter what you do, what your activity level is, what your health level is, everyone needs a good night's sleep. 8 hours. Some people think they get away with 6, but whatever. I get 5 to 6, but I don't sleep very well. That's just me. Of course, also part of my ADHD. My brain never stops working. I go to bed and it's like, you know, so that's me. But I do have a bed that's big enough for me, and it's right here. I'm sure you guys have seen this in all my videos, most of my videos. My bed is a full-size bed. And I wanted to do that because, well, mainly I had a full-size futon mattress that I wanted to use, and it was comfortable. But I'm 6 foot tall, I'm 260 pounds, I need length, and I tend to roll around a lot, starfish when I sleep, I stretch out. So I knew I needed a large bed, or big enough bed for that. So I see some people get with twin-size beds. Doesn't work for me. It's way too small, and I would not be comfortable. And I have a hard enough time sleeping as it is, so having a small bed would not work for me. So again, when you're thinking about your bed, for me, that's the most important part of your van build, because again, you spend 1/3 of your life in it. You need to be comfortable. So decide on how big you want your bed to be. Make sure it fits into the size of van you have. If you're 6 foot tall, big guy like me, you probably don't want to get a smaller van because you're not going to be able to fit a big enough bed in there. So make sure you get a larger van to accommodate the bed you want. I don't necessarily need a full-size bed. I probably could have gone with something a little smaller. When I do my rebuild, what I want to do is build a couch that slides out into a bed. It's going to be custom made, so long enough for me, because my feet kind of hang off the edge of this one, long enough and wide enough, maybe not going to be as wide as a full size, but again, I don't need that much length. I could probably take like a couple feet off the width of my full-size bed and still have enough room to be comfortable. So, but one thing, if you're not sure how much space you need, I did see one guy, I wish I could remember the name of the guy in the video he did. I would put a link to it here. But what he did is he has a queen, I think he had a queen or king size bed in his home. So he kind of took cushions and said, okay, let's try a bed with these dimensions. And he would block that out with his cushions and sleep there the whole night to make sure that that much space was comfortable for him. And he redid a few different ones and found the dimensions that worked out best for him, and that's the bed he built. So if you got the time to do that, which I always recommend, don't buy a van and build it out while you're living in it. That might be problematic. If you can, build it before you move into it. But then again, some people are in a situation where they don't have a choice. They have to build while they live in it. But if you have the option, do that. Figure out what size works for you. And if you already have a bed that will fit in your van and you're okay with that much space taking up your van, then use that. I'll talk later about using things that using what you have. Like me, I use what I had, my full-size bed. And you can see it's got all kinds of stuff on there because I'm a mess. I'm always a mess. I don't think you'll ever see my van crisp and clean and pristine condition. I am going to do a van tour very soon. I just need to get everything organized so it looks decent. I don't really want to show how much of a mess my van really is. But again, take that to me, that is the most important part of your van build is your bed. You need to be comfortable. You need to have enough space to sleep. Number 2, toilet. I know, I've talked about this before. I made a whole video on a toilet. I mentioned it before. But a lot of you guys are new to my channel, so maybe you haven't heard me talk about the importance of a good toilet. But it is so important because you got to figure out, what are you going to do when you got to go to the bathroom? I've seen some nomads that live in a small little vehicle and they don't have a toilet and they're always around a public toilet. And if you can make sure they're always around one, great, go for it. Don't worry about a toilet. I'm not always around a public toilet. And also too, I live in a small town and everyone shuts down early. I think the only store that's open all night long is Safeway. Everyone else is closed by like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I'm an older guy, so sometimes I have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And I don't want to have to always park by Safeway. I can't park by Safeway, actually. They don't allow overnight parking there. I don't want to get in the middle of the night, put my clothes on, and walk a block or two to use the bathroom. I want the convenience that's right there for me. Plus, I go to campgrounds, don't have bathrooms there. When I went to Schoolie-Palooza, they had like porta potties, but they're way far away. Again, I don't want to walk all that distance just to use the bathroom. So I got my toilet. I looked at a lot of different toilets, and the one I ultimately chose was my luggable loo. It's cheap, and it's easy, and it's very convenient. It's easy to move around. You just have to get a garbage bag that's leak resistant, and when you do your business, you throw it away. Throw it in a dumpster. Do it safely. Do it considerately. Don't throw it in a garbage can where someone has to go out and pick it out. Put in a dumpster. But research different toilets. There's composting toilets. There's cartridge toilets. There's all kinds of things you can get that work for you. So research them. If you can, try them out. I don't know if that's possible or not, if you can rent the toilet. I mean, if you go the route of renting a van to see if van life is right for you, hopefully it'll have a toilet, or you can rent one. I don't know. If you can't borrow one or rent one to actually use it, then just research online and see what different people say about it, how they like it, how they don't like it. Whenever you research anything, I always recommend look for people who are saying, I don't like this. This does not work for me. Listen to what they're saying, because what doesn't work for them might be the same for you. Before I started van life, I watched a lot of videos called I hate van life or I'm quitting van life. I wanted to find out why they didn't like it, why they were quitting it. I wanted to hear the negative. So when you research anything, especially toilets, listen to the negative. What are people saying about it they don't like? Use that and eventually choose your toilet. If you're not sure which one you want, buy one. Worst case scenario, if you hate it, buy a different one. Don't get anything horribly expensive if you're not sure which one you want. Again, my luggable loo was like, I think $20-30 for the whole system, and I think I pay like I buy the Glad leak resistant garbage bags, and those are like $12 at the store for a pack of 40. So it's not that bad. I did have to replace the seats on it because the seat I had that came with it cracked, so I bought a new one, and that cost me like $20. But I bought a bigger one. I bought one that actually has a padded seat on it. So my little tuchus is all, I almost left the camera there. My little tuchus is all nice and comfy when I'm sitting on my toilet doing my business. So I kind of like this toilet seat. But again, research what you need, see what you want to use, and then go from there. But again, I cannot express how important a good toilet is and a convenient toilet is. The third thing you want to think about is power. What kind of power do you need for your van? So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what are you taking with you in your van? Do you have a refrigerator? Do you have a microwave or a coffee pot? What kind of electronics are you going to take with you in your van? So I initially just got a Jackery 240, a small little power bank. It works great for me. Initially, all I had to do was basically charge up my phone, my watch, a couple of small electronics, and it worked just perfectly fine for me. Now I have a refrigerator, so that powers my refrigerator all the time, and it's really important. I needed that. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you're always going to be at a coffee shop or somewhere. Maybe you only have a phone that needs to be charged once a day or every other day, depending on how often you use it. I know a lot of van lifers like me who have channels, you have cameras and other equipment. I just got the microphone for Christmas. I just got a drone, so I've got more things to charge up. I have a laptop that I need to charge up occasionally. So I do have quite a few electronics, and that power box works great for me. It's the smallest one they have, so eventually I'm going to upgrade to a bigger one to get more power to last longer and maybe power more things. I have a little NutriBullet blender. I might get a bigger blender later on, although I'd love to get a big enough power bank that I can run an air fryer. I miss my air fryer so much. Now that is a convenience. It's not a necessity. I talked before about listing your needs and your wants. An air fryer is a want, not a need. But eventually I'd love to have an air fryer. It's, in my opinion, the best way to cook any food. The only way to reheat potatoes, like French fries and stuff like that, is an air fryer. Every other way, the potatoes come out crappy. But that Jackery has been a lifesaver for me. It keeps things going. My refrigerator has been a game changer for me. I can keep things cold longer. I'll address that in just a minute in terms of cold storage. But again, think about what you need, not what you want, what you need to begin with. Now, if you've got a lot of money to put down into it, you might go ahead and just automatically do the solar panels with the electrical inside with the batteries and inverter and set all that up so you can run a microwave and an electric stovetop and all that good stuff. If that's what you want and you can do it, go for it. I don't have the money to do that. I can't do that. Eventually, I do want to do that. But right now, just the small Jackery is working great for me. Again, I'm going to upgrade to a bigger one pretty soon. So think about what it is you have to have with you and what you got available in terms of money-wise and space-wise as well. These bigger banks, they can take up a lot of space and they're heavy and they may not be convenient for you to use. So look into those, research them again, see what you need. So on the topic of cold storage, when I first started out, I had an Igloo cooler, which is okay, but if you're not getting ice every other day and being careful about the ice melting, I lost so much food from the ice melting and just water being in there. The ice melting and not necessarily the water damaging it, but it wasn't cold enough. And on more than one occasion, I ate food that I didn't realize had gone bad, and I got kind of sick. So always be careful if you're doing a cooler. Always be careful about basically stay on top of it. Stay on top of the ice situation. I also bought down the line. I bought those ice blocks, the plastic things, the water inside. You put in a freezer. I had a job where I had a freezer available to employees, so I would just pop those in there and I would keep them in my cooler. I would just swap them out. So I had something cold to keep everything cold in my cooler. Then I got the fridge, and that was an awesome upgrade. So again, fridges are expensive. The fridge I got runs usually around almost $900, $900 to $1,000. I got it not even used, barely used. I got it for like $400. So again, look around, see what's out there. If you're buying used, be careful, make sure it still works. Or if you got the money, buy a brand new one. Mine's just a refrigerator. You can buy fridge freezers, or like 2-compartment ones. You can make one a freezer, one a refrigerator, however you want to do it. But again, look at what you have. Look at what the space you've got, where you want to put it, how much money you have, and make sure you've got the power to run it. If you buy a fridge, make sure you get a power bank to run that, because you're not going to be able to run it off your car. You plug it into your car. I plugged the cigarette lighter one, I think it's 110 volt, 112, what it's called. I plugged that into my car a few times, and when the car's not running, it doesn't give enough power to run it. So the car has to be running while I plug it in. I can unplug it for a couple hours, depending on how hot it is outside. When I was in Bend last winter, it got freezing cold, so at nighttime I had it turned off probably most of the day, because I didn't have to keep it on. It was so cold outside, it never got hot, warm inside the cooler. So always bear that in mind, but think about, again, what you can afford and what you want. And some people, they don't really need anything to keep anything cold. If you're always eating things if you eat canned foods or non-perishables, you don't need one. Maybe you need an Igloo cooler to keep fruits and veggies in as like a crisper or something, but you don't need to keep them cold. So think about that, what you need. If you can't afford a refrigerator, go the cooler route. Just make sure that you stay on top of your ice situation. Ice or freezer packs. If you have a method if you have somewhere to go to freeze it, great. But you're on the road a lot, you may not have that. So you have to worry about the ice. So again, if you're willing to buy ice every other day, if you're somewhere where it's really hot, you may have to buy ice every day. Or if you're winter camping somewhere, you may have to worry about it. It stays so cold at night, you don't have to worry about keeping it cold. So again, bear in mind what you want, what you need, what your diet is, how you eat, what you eat. If you can afford to eat out all the time, eat out all the time. I can't afford to do it, and I don't do it. And mostly I don't do it also because it's not that healthy. I mean, fast food isn't healthy. Buying pre-made stuff at the store is not always the healthiest thing because you never really know exactly what they're putting in there, what quality of meats or cheese or spreads or whatever. You're never really sure what the quality is. So for me, I prefer making my own food because I know what's in it. I know what I'm putting in there. I read the ingredients, if it's canned or whatever. So I know what I'm putting in my body. It's not always the healthiest thing, as you can tell. But for the most part, that's what I do. Also, bear in mind how big of a vehicle you're going to have and how big of a vehicle you need. I always say, look at what you need, not what you want. If you want a huge vehicle and you can afford it, then I guess go for it. But if you're kind of restricted by money, then kind of look at what it is you need. Or in terms of what you want to do. If you want to stealth park in the city a lot, my recommendation is smaller is better. It's easier to be stealth in a smaller vehicle. It's easier to find parking spots in a smaller vehicle. I see big schoolies and the big long Mercedes-Benz vans and RVs, and they're parked in spots. They take up like 2 spots or 3 spots. I've seen guys take up like four spots with their RV, and they're huge and they take up a lot of space. If that's what you want to do, go for it. If you spend a lot of time in the backcountry, make sure you've got a vehicle to handle the backcountry. So, but again, decide how do you want to do your van life. I want to do van life being mostly in the backcountry. I love camping. I love driving the back. I can't wait for the day when I can start making money remotely and spend all my time in the backcountry, or as much time as I possibly can in the backcountry, and camping and just driving in the middle of nowhere and just enjoying nature and enjoying the ocean or whatever. Going to the desert. I remember I went to Joshua Tree, and it was gorgeous. I loved it. But if I've had a much bigger vehicle than I have, that spot I got to, I wouldn't be able to make it. I wouldn't be able to get to that spot because the roads don't handle a larger vehicle. But my vehicle was able to handle it, and I love that about my van. So when you're looking for a vehicle, bear in mind, how much space do you need, and what do you want to do? If you want to spend a lot of time in the backcountry, going on back roads and camping like BLM land, an RV may not work out great for you. It may be too big. A schoolie may not work out the best for you. It may be too big. And if you want to convert them to a 4-wheel drive or put a lift kit on it, that can work too. But again, look at what you want, what you can afford, what you need. For me, my van is perfect. It's big enough to accommodate me and the stuff I want and the stuff I need, but it's also small enough that I can get into some back areas. I can stealth park very easily. My boss lets me park in the parking lot overnight sometimes, so I can easily fit in a parking spot. I'm not taking up 2 or 3 spots with my big schoolie or anything else. So for me, it's really nice to be a little more stealth and easier to find parking spots. So again, what do you need? What do you want to do? How do you want to live your van life? Decide that. Also, I should have made that number 1. I should have made number 1. Decide what you want to do for van life. I could re-record this, but I don't want to. Anyway. All right, thanks again for joining me, you guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you watching, subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, hit like. If you have questions or comments, or you think I missed anything, leave down in the comments. Let me know. Tell me what's up. If there's any ideas or things that you want me to talk about in the future, like future videos, anything you're curious about, leave in the comments. Let me know what you want to see, and I'll make that video for you. And again, if you're not a Patreon member and you want to help support my journey, you can join Patreon. The link is below. It's $4 a month or $8 a month. It's really, really cheap. Not a lot of money to put down to help me continue my journey. And if you do that, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining me again. I really appreciate it. Have a great one. Be well.